Hey, it's Byron Morrison here, and welcome to the Unstoppable Entrepreneur Show. So, one thing that every business owner struggles with in one way or another is anxiety. And that's why in this video I want to share with you a simple strategy that I use with my private clients to really help them break through it so that they can take back control. Before we get to that though, I think it's really important for you to firstly understand what's actually triggering the anxiety in the first place, because you're going to have a far easier time dealing with the issue if you understand the problem. So why exactly does your business cause your anxiety? Well, the reality is running a business is pretty tough. For anyone who's done it for any period of time, you've no doubt experienced how it can be a roller coaster ride of emotions, where one moment you can feel on top of the world and the next you can be falling apart. And when you stack on all of the stress, the pressure, the overwhelm, the expectations, and everything else in between, it can very quickly push you to your absolute limit. And this is why we get anxious trying to keep it all together. Now, the problem with anxiety is it can very quickly manifest, and it can cause external problems where you struggle showing up to lead your team, you have difficulty making decisions, you lose your confidence, you don't perform as well on sales calls, pretty much hindering your day-to-day growth and what needs to be done. But internally, it can also lead to avoidance, where you stop doing the things that you know that you need to do in order to grow your business, like going to events, meeting new people, taking the actions that you need to take. We've all been there. And I find the problem is that for a lot of entrepreneurs, when this happens, they start to blame things like maybe their funnel's broken, maybe they're missing something on their website, maybe they've got the wrong strategy and that's why it's not converting. They look at all of these external forces, not realizing that the problem is actually within themselves. It's that voice in the back of their head, the doubt and the fear that's really sabotaging their success. So why exactly do we get anxious? Well, there's two core reasons. The first is focusing on a negative future event, and the second is a perceived outcome that you're not going to be successful. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you've been asked to come in and pitch for a new client, to give a presentation, to talk in an event, or whatever it is. You have this opportunity, but all of a sudden, you start to doubt yourself. You worry about what happens if you fail, you get rejected, you aren't good enough. You start to build up this outcome in your head about what's going to happen. The reality is, though, you've got no possible way of predicting the outcome of your actions. Yet, because you build up that story in your head and convince yourself that you can't do it or that everything's going to fall apart, what happens is you get stuck in this self-fulfilling prophecy where your actions, your thoughts, and your decisions come into alignment, and that's what sabotages your success because you get anxious and you don't show up at your best. And the problem with that is you get stuck in this negative thought feedback loop where every time you presented with a similar situation, the anxiety takes over and you land up in a heightened state because you convince yourself that the same thing's going to happen again. So what can be done about this? Well, what we need to do is interrupt the pattern, stop you from acting on impulse, and we have to shift your focus. So the next time you feel the anxiety building up and starting to take over, what I want you to do is stop, take a deep breath, and I want you to ask yourself, what specifically are you feeling anxious about? Break it down. What are you actually afraid of? What's worrying you and causing you to go into this heightened state? And once you know that, what I want you to do is shift it. Instead of focusing on everything that could go wrong, ask yourself, how could this all go right? What if you show up, you succeed and get amazing results, you give the best presentation of your life, you convert that client, you're confident, you meet new people, you actually enjoy yourself and have fun. Really start to focus on all of the positives of what could actually happen. And then from there, stop and ask yourself, even if that doesn't happen or it doesn't go according to plan, Is it really the end of the world like you're building up in your head? Now, the second part here is vital because so often we build up these events or these moments in our head, convincing ourselves that if it goes wrong or we make a mistake or it doesn't go according to plan, it's a catastrophe and the end of the world. When really, when we stop and we break it down, even if it doesn't go according to plan, is it really that big a deal? Or as awful as the story in your head is telling you? Now, one thing that's absolutely essential when you're doing this is your breathing. Because when you go into this heightened state, what happens is your heart rate starts increasing, your blood pressure goes up, and in those moments, your brain goes foggy, you can't make the right decisions, and you're in this fight or flight mode where you panic, and often acting on impulse leads to a decision that you wouldn't have made if you were calm and in control. And that's why instead, by stopping, focusing on your breathing, allowing yourself to momentarily relax, to take deep breaths, you're going to slow down your heart rate. You're going to start to refocus your thoughts and you're going to be able to calm down. And then and only then do you take action or make a decision. And to do that, you might even need to remove yourself from the situation. I'll give you an example. I had a client I was working with a few months ago who had reached a point in his business where he'd had a few rough months. A lot of the stress and pressure and keeping everything together had pushed him to a point where he lost his confidence. And because of that, he was no longer doing the things that he knew that he needed to do to grow his business. Most importantly, going to networking events. So what we had to do was get to the root cause to really understand what had happened to get him to take on these doubts and fears in the first place. But as part of that, to help him break through it, we got him to use this strategy. Now for him, what he needed to do was firstly push through. He had to book in to attend one of these events, but even when driving there, he was starting to get anxious. He was feeling himself getting overwhelmed. So what we got him to do upon arriving was to go to the bathroom. He went, stood in a cubicle where he was in a safe place. No one could see him. It was all by himself, and he could go through this process. He firstly stopped, closed his eyes, took a deep breath, allowed his heart rate to calm down. From there, he could go through the questions. He could ask himself, what specifically was he feeling anxious about? Why was he worried? Why was he overwhelmed or overthinking it? And from there, once he understood it, he could shift his focus. Rather than having this fear that people were going to judge him or things weren't going to go right, instead he could focus on the fact that he could walk into that room, he could be confident, he could put himself out there, he could have conversations and meet new people. He did that, went into that room, made such a good impression that he got invited back the next week to do a presentation. From there, it gave him this confidence that he could take back control of his business. Within 6 weeks, he went from struggling to adding £36,000 to his revenue, giving him this confidence that actually he could do anything. All by facing that fear, going through this simple exercise and seeing what he can actually do. And that's why I love this strategy, because it's so simple and it's something that you can do anywhere that's going to have a really powerful effect on the way that you think and feel. Obviously, though, it does have its limitations. This isn't going to remove your anxiety altogether. To really do that, we have to get to the root cause of understanding why you're getting anxious in the first place. But regardless of that, this is a really useful tool that you can keep in your toolkit for moments that you feel like your emotions are going out of control. So try it and please let me know how you get on. I'd love to know how you found the strategy, the impact that it had, and how it helped you in difficult situations. To really take it a step further though, what I've done is I've put together a free 4-day Unstoppable Entrepreneur Challenge where I'm going to really help you uncover why you're thinking and feeling that way, what you need to level up your way of thinking, and how you can break through the anxiety, doubts, and fears to put you back in control of your business. And you can access that for free using the link in the description of this video. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and hit the like button below. And If you want more videos like this one, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications, as I'm putting out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday on how you can become an unstoppable entrepreneur. So I'm Byron Morrison. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.